I'm Veronica Harris, host of the Veronica Harris Show. And on this episode, you have the big three. Yes.
3 Hall of Famers?
Yes, 3 Hall of Famers. That's hard, the big three. Work with me.
Yeah.
Get with it. So who are you?
Self-proclaimed world's fittest man, Gregory Harris, 2011 Mount St. Mary's Hall of Fame inductee.
Yeah, and I am, well, you know who I am, but what year, was that last year, 2 years ago? But 2016 Hall of Fame inductee for my high school, athletic department.
Vaughn Jones, DeMatha Hall of Famer, 2016, All-Century player for George Washington University.
You are also All-Century.
So out of the big three, who's the big ticket?
I am.
Okay, I'm the truth then.
Oh, you the truth? Hey, who am I gonna be? So if you the big ticket,
There's only one left, Veronica. You're Ray Allen. Okay, so we were the Heat's big three.
Oh.
Which one is who's LeBron?
I am.
And who are you?
What are we Golden State's big three? Who would you be then?
KD.
Oh.
And that makes me Curry.
Well,
You're Draymond.
what?
Any more big threes out there?
Any more big threes out there? Oh, yeah. Well, if I wasn't sitting here, I guess you had a big. Well, Vaughn wasn't sitting here, we had a big two. I guess you'd be Jordan and I'm Scotty, or something like that. Or what we got? Who else has got a big three?
Yeah. Any more threes?
Any more threes?
I don't know.
Okay. Well.
Oh, yeah, the Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
Yeah, so Emmett,
Oh.
Aikman,
Sure.
and Irvin.
All right.
Who are you?
I'm Aikman.
I'm Irvin.
I'd be him, and I'll take that.
All right, well, you know what? We're going to discuss more big threes on the Veronica Harris Show, so stay tuned.
3 Hall of Famers. Where do you see that at? And today, here on the Veronica Harris Show, another guest who's done a lot for the community, has done a lot in the area, probably is considered a local legend. Starred at the legendary high school, went on and played basketball at the collegiate, as a collegiate at a local college.
What legendary high school?
Did well, and
You
played some years overseas too.
You
Not only that,
you just keep ignoring
he
my.
came back to coach and had his program on top of the DCIAA 4 years.
Okay, and we don't know.
This guest, our very own Mr. Vaughn Jones. Welcome to the show, Vaughn Jones.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you for being here.
Hey, Veronica, let me introduce you to a close friend of mine.
Okay.
Well, even though we went to the same high school at DeMatha, I didn't know much about him till I started playing in these men's leagues.
Was he older than you?
He's a little older than me, yeah. And when we got into these men's leagues, he was, sorry to say, Vaughn, quite past his prime, but still a great player, Vaughn, what you up to nowadays, man?
So right now I'm coaching. I'm coaching again at Kingsman Academy, and I'm also doing a sports program there. So I've been just relaxing. I haven't coached in a couple of years, so it's been fun just to go home after work and not spend those long hours out, in the gym. So it's been refreshing for me.
Okay.
So what do you do besides? So you said come home from work. Like, are you a teacher or?
Well, I'm actually a dean of students
Okay.
at the school, so
All
I
right.
deal with a lot during the day.
All right, I can imagine.
And so I have some long days, not as long as coaching. The days when I was coaching, I get home at 9, 10 o'clock at night. So now I kind of get home maybe at 7.
Okay.
So it's a little different, but I'm having fun.
Okay. Yeah, y'all definitely must have went to the same school because y'all guys both got that same sleepy-eyed look.
So, again, started at DeMatha. Everybody knows this, though, and also at GW.
I did not know this.
I read in the
Why
Post
did-
article, though, hitting that game-winning shot in the city title game, one of your best memories. So with the college career and that career you had at GW, that was your best memory?
That's one of my best memories. My best memory is when I was 12. Played AAU basketball for Kingsman Boys and Girls Club in Northwest. I didn't make the AAU All-American team, so back then you got a patch, an AAU All-American patch, and that was a prestigious honor. So I actually cried because I thought that I was one of the top players in the country. So I didn't make it, but my dad worked me out all summer. I was a fat kid, so I had to, he made me run the hills. He made me wear a weight vest. I worked really hard, and so that next year we played. It was 13 and under, and we won the national championship, and I was an AAU All-American. So I achieved that goal. So to me, that was the most important goal that I think I achieved.
Well, we had something in common. You were All-American. I was All-American. When I was in my collegiate days.
You was All-American.
I was.
In what sport?
Track and field.
All right.
National champion. Okay, track and field. But for your high school career, your team was 30 and 0. Okay, what year was that for you?
My junior year. So my freshman year, I didn't make varsity. Where I was the last. I was the last person cut. I thought I should have made it. Coach Morgan Wooten, if he's looking, Coach, I should have made as a freshman.
Don't worry, he cut him too.
Oh yeah.
No, he played on the JV though. I was cut like
You
don't
cut.
need you. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Like, don't come back.
my sophomore year, I actually took the shot to win the game against Dunbar, which had a great team. They had Mike Smith and Deion Murray. They had some really good players. So I missed the shot. I laid on the floor crying because I was just like, it was a city title game. So, it was like 15,000 people at the Cofield House in Maryland. So I missed that shot. But that following year, we went 30 and 0. But I made the winning shot over Johnny Rose, who played at University of Maryland. And I always tease him, and it's actually on the cover of Coach Wooten's book, one of his books.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so that was a special memory, and we beat a lot of teams that year. That there was a lot of close games we had, so it wasn't like an easy 30. It was a hard 30 and 0, and there's only 2 teams in the map of history, and all of the great players that played there.
Yeah,
that's amazing. That's an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, I was about to say that because your team was ranked number 5 in the country by USA Today. And the other undefeated team was the 77-78 team that had Sidney Lowe and Derek Wittenberg. And we all know them, that they beat Phi Slamma Jamma in the NCAA tournament. Hakeem Olajuwon, I mean, that was awesome. I mean, that was really when, I think, one of the times when I really got into March Madness or, basketball in general and just had that love for that. But enough about that. But you said you have a program that you started in the school where you are. Tell me a little bit about that program.
So the program is called ACE 360, Athleticism, Character, and Empowerment. And so we utilize different avenues of sports, not just playing, but also like sports medicine, sport law. We just came from a visit at Bowie State. So we're trying to expose a lot of our at-risk youth. Some of our students have been adjudicated. They're in the court system, so they're trying to find another way to make it out. And so what I tried to put in place was using sports, because I know that's like a segue for a lot of kids to get interested in certain things. So I use the sports platform to just expose them to different things through sports.
And I like that you have things like sports law, sports medicine, we come up with some other categories. So
come up with them now. We got the law, we got the medicine.
Sports design. So we also
journalism.
Sports journalism.
Right.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Which is something that we kind of do a little bit. But the point is, you're letting, because not everybody is going to play in the NBA. We know what the statistics are, and honestly, not every kid is going to get a full scholarship. Like, that's 3%, and out of the 3% there, then you guys like you was one of the 3%, and then you actually wanted a 1% that actually 3% actually played at the collegiate level, then 1% get like a Division I scholarship. So we were part of 1%, and
everybody.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, you too. Thank you for bringing the eyes. I was like, yes, he was. And then you two are a part of a smaller percent that actually get to go and play professionally because you played overseas and you did too. So kudos to you two. But like again, not everybody's gonna be able to do that. However, you can still, love sports and still work in a sport-related field. Sure. So I think that's an awesome thing that you're bringing to the young people.
In addition, so I'm also looking for mentors. So I know that there's some of our young ladies. It's not just guys.
Me too.
It's ladies too. So like someone like yourself that may be a great mentor to a young lady to see that you can do things. You're a track and field athlete, former track and field athlete, but now you're hosting a show and doing things like that. So I don't think that a lot of our kids are exposed to this. So that would be something that I would like to kind of filter those kids through
Right.
to people like that.
And I like to, and I'm glad you brought up my, I do track and field, because when it comes to collegiate sport, they differentiate between revenue generating and non-revenue.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously basketball and football are the revenue generating, so they get most of the attention, obviously. Track and field, non-revenue.
Right.
However, I know that in addition to my parents, raising me, I would not be where I am without sports in general, because I played basketball, and it's led me to coaching, it's led me to traveling, all over the world, coaching outside of this country, just meeting so many people. So I think sometimes young people don't see the benefits of this is bigger than just the actual sport that you do.
So for me, I'm a native Washingtonian. I grew up in Southeast D.C. So at that time, and I know you spoke about statistics. So for me, it was very, very crucial for me to get involved with a sport or do something positive, because at that time, it was D.C. was #1 in murders, and we had the crack epidemic, and there was so much going on. And I know basketball, and I tell kids today, like, basketball saved my life. If it hadn't been for basketball, I don't know what kind of decision I would have made during that time, because there was so much money and so much temptation going on. But I missed a lot of go-go's, I missed a lot of parties, and, I sacrificed a lot. So, so I owe a lot to basketball.
Oh, wow, that's great. Well, we're up against the break right now, so we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to delve more into your programs and, what you're doing, your coaching philosophy, just have a nice little conversation here.
Okay.
All right, well, Gregory, you got anything you want to say? Go on.
After the break. I'm saving it for after the break.
All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, you.
Yeah, you. Getting that college education. What are you gonna do? Graduate and take some office job? Be like everybody else?
Or will you dare do something different?
Like, be a teacher. You could be my teacher. You got the skills. The smarts.
Yes, you.
You could be the teacher I never forget.
That'd be cool.
Does that corporate job even have recess? What are you gonna make of yourself?
What are you gonna make of me?
Man, so here we go. We're back. And we got
We're
Vaughn
back
Jones
on the Veronica Harris Show.
on the Veronica Harris Show.
Thank you.
So, though with me and Vaughn are friends, I didn't know you were AAU All-American. So let's look at it. AAU All-American, goes on to start the Mantha. How they let you take the winning shot as a sophomore, don't know. But you got to hit it as a junior, go on to play GW, took them to the tournament 1 or 2 times.
3.
Ooh,
3 times.
3 times.
Went on, played professionally. Now, why or how and I commend you for coming back and coaching in the community, helping the young guys like you did. But tell me about that journey. How did it go from, all that basketball success and then, not saying that it's not a glamorous job, actually. It is.
No, it's not.
No,
you don't do it.
Talk to me how you
My transition?
Yeah.
So from coming from high school, I had a lot of colleges that recruited me. And, sometimes you look back to see did I make the right decision. So GW wasn't really a basketball school. I actually was born in GW. A lot of people don't know that. So I was born at the hospital. And I had a good relationship with Coach Eddie Myers, who recruited Patrick. He coached with John Thompson. So he really sold me on being at home and staying at home. So I listened to him. I was thinking about like Miami and Florida State. So I had some pretty high-level schools that were recruiting me. So coming from GW, once I went overseas, I had my son. My son was born, and just being a responsible man, I said I need to be back in the States to take care of my son. So that kind of transitioned me back to to the States. So from there, I started working with kids. I found a job with DC Parks and Recreation. So I started doing outreach work. And so, I was very reluctant in coaching at first. I didn't want to do it because I still wanted to play. But I eventually I coached at Eastern. That was my first school that I coached at, Eastern High School. Then from there, I went to Spingarn High School, which is now closed. Then I went to M.N. Washington, which is a career high school. That's now closed. But I got my first, all the schools closed, right?
Oh, man.
So I got my first head coaching job there. We went to the championship the first year. which was a huge surprise. We lost to Cardozo in the championship, but that let me know that I could be pretty good at coaching. And then from there, I went to Coolidge High School. Was there for about 10 years, and there's a lot of great things there. But it, like you said, it's hard. You know, it's hard when sometimes you know you feel like you're in shape, you feel like you can still play, and you know it just was a tough transition. So for me, I think I want to look into like helping athletes, because I know a lot of athletes go through depression because when you don't play football or basketball or something that you've done for me, since 8 years old, it's tough. You know, it's tough to just stop playing like that and, you know, give your time and energy to kids. And you know, Greg, because you coach it yourself, kids today are just a lot different. Like they're not as tough as kind of we were and the guys and girls before us. So it's a different transition.
Yeah, it is different. I coach at the collegiate level now. Well, obviously up in Jersey where I am, and also teach there. And a lot of the things that I see and I hear, I'm like, it just does not compute. I am like, I don't understand what you're doing, what you're saying, because to me, and I'm sure to you both, it seemed like life was very simple. Okay, you're going to practice. This is what you do. You're committed. You're loyal to the team. You follow your commitment through. You know, you do your job. And it just seems like it's too easy for them to quit, to stop. And they're like, well, I want to work. I'm like, you got the rest of your life to work. You only have these 4 years or these so many years as an athlete. And you know, you have to make the most of it. And that's why I said seeing the benefits that are outside of it. Did you have something?
What are you talking? I'm sorry, I got lost. What's the point?
The point is how young people are different nowadays.
Oh, got it. Because, yeah, he said they're not as tough. You did all that to say.
So,
hey, Vaughn, I got another question. All coaches here.
Yes.
Right,
what is your coaching philosophy?
Put your coaching cap on.
Okay. So my coaching philosophy, I adjust to my teams. I've never been a one-way coach to just do things one way. So some teams I have are real athletic, so I press and trap. So some teams are a little slower, but they have a higher IQ. So I run a lot of sets, you know, ball screens and different type of sets. So it depends on what team I have. So the team that I have right now are very inexperienced. So I try to keep the game as simple as possible. So we play a lot of zone. We run basic sets, and we just do things, you know, so it's more instinctive than opposed to just really doing a lot of thinking. Because the team is very inexperienced, so they haven't been in a lot of different experiences to make adjustments on the fly like some of my better teams.
So you follow my famous saying, be like water. Very flexible, very adaptable. Yeah. But while you are flexible and you are adaptable, what are some of the, you know, there's always core principles, things that you lean on no matter what you're doing. So what are some of those core principles?
So absolutely, my core principles is defense first, but also conditioning. I think sometimes, you know, teams can overcome talent with conditioning. And so you kind of wear teams down in the third and fourth quarter. So my teams are normally always physical and in shape, but always going to be tough. Mental toughness and defense, and that's something that was instilled in me when I was, you know, 8, 9 years old. Just being, you know, principled. Shout out to Ed Hill and rest in peace, LeBarry Williams. They put a lot of time into me, just teaching me those philosophy, you know, what they had, and I think it's paid off me as a player and as a coach.
Oh, nice.
How much did you borrow or take from Morgan at DeMatha, or was it Mike Jarvis at Jarvis at GW? I know you like to play that 2-2-1, that doggone 2-2-1. He pressed the crap out of him. I played Vaughn my first year I got into coaching. That was like my first game against Vaughn. Gave me a game and he beat us pretty bad. But I remember the 2-2-1 and that dime. That's what y'all. That was y'all style at GW.
Yeah. So Coach Jarvis was a more of a defensive coach. You know, so he preached defense, field goal percentage, defensive field goal percentage. So that was his big thing, and just being tough defensively. Coach Wooten was different. I mean, I think his fast break was his main identity. You know, we always had a good fast break, and it just, you know, his approach, Coach Wooten's approach was just totally different. I mean, it was more, he never cursed, he never used profanity. Coach Jarvis was a little different. He used a lot of profanity, but I think
How
they
much
both.
profanity you use?
I'm about halfway. I'm between both.
I heard you. I've heard you in practice.
What's to say what?
Yeah, I just say I heard you.
So I took bits and pieces of them, and also like some of my coaches when I was younger. Just I use a little bit from all of the coaches that I've learned from, in addition to just my own knowledge of the game. So I did borrow a little bit from Coach Wooten and Coach Jarvis.
I've borrowed some things from some legendary coaches, basketball.
Like what?
Like, for instance, when I went to Australia and I took a team over there and we were in a championship game, and yes, I did break out the Dean Smith 4 corners.
Oh, wow. I played in Australia.
Really?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the tournament took place in Canberra.
Canberra,
Yeah,
yeah.
the capital. And the crowd booed because they were like, boo, why aren't you scoring? I'm like, I'm ahead. I am not going to like risk a turnover because my team, they hadn't played together. It was a collection of girls. So there was some inexperience there. And there was some, like, as far as playing together. So, shoot, no shot clock. I said, Dean Smith, here I come. And my guard, bless her little heart.
Oh, so you played in Australia?
I did.
What was your favorite place to play when you played overseas?
Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Yeah, Melbourne, like the crowd was just different. Like they were, that was Andrew Gaze. I don't know if you remember.
I know.
And
Yes.
so he played in the Olympics when Dream Team played in the Olympics. And so that he was like the guy. He was the man over there. And so playing against him was big. I mean, he always packed the crowd, packed the house wherever he played at. So that was, for me, that was cool.
Melbourne is in Australia?
Yes.
Yeah, Melbourne is in
I
Australia.
thought I was going to say something silly.
Yeah.
No, you good.
All right.
Well, the Australian Open is played and the tennis is played at Melbourne. Yeah.
So Serena Williams is, the down under.
No. Got
Tennis
it.
time?
Got it. Thank you.
Yes! Thank you, Vaughn, for bringing it, because he clearly didn't know what he was talking about. Hey. Well, believe it or not, it is time to wrap up this segment. And
Already?
Yes, already. And when we come back, we will do What is Veronica Thinking? You thinking about anything right now? Well, we'll hold that in thought. We'll be right back.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Selfie. Nailed it.
Hi, and we're back. It is now time for What is Veronica Thinking? And today I am thinking about moves, specifically counter moves. What is your counter? Things are going to happen in life, and you're going to have to be able to react to them. And really, I guess I should back up. I think that everyone should have a plan, but we all know that plans do not always work out. And then when someone throws an obstacle in your path or throws a different option in your way, what is your counter to that? And then what is your counter to the counter?
Right. Got to be prepared with the counter to the counter. Now, me personally, I don't do the countering. You got to counter to me. I'm impose my will from Jump Street.
Oh, so you're the type, you're going to be the team that's going to try to impose your will and then make them react to whatever.
You got to counter, and you normally fold, and then I just beat you into submission. Now, if a counter is necessary, depending on the opponent, I like to fight fire with fire. But sometimes you can't fight fire with fire.
No,
you got to
why
fight
would
fire
you?
with water.
Look at you. Come on.
So I like Greg's philosophy. So for me, I've always tried to think 2 and 3 moves ahead. So
Chess.
yeah, I play chess.
Okay. You two ever play together?
No, I don't think Greg want to play.
I
no
ain't know he played chess. If I'd have known that, we'd
Whoa.
have played by now.
Challenge.
So maybe the next time we can have a little chessboard.
Challenge, because you know Gregory, he goes out and plays different people. Challenge. That's not it.
Let him finish answering.
But you have to have counters to counters, and you always have to be resilient. But strategy is important. So if you don't have a strategy, most of the time you're going to fail. So having a plan is definitely important, but also having instinct too. And you have to learn how to trust your instinct.
Yes, very good. Because we tell people to plan, but we also don't want to take out what do you call that? The analytics.
Oh yeah, you always talking about the analytics.
No, not saying that. I'm always talking about the analytics, but where in a lot of sports, baseball, well, basketball now, even football, they're very analytic driven. They're bringing in people from different, from like really the math industry that deal with analytics, statistics, and bringing them into the front office of these different sports. And they're talking about, well, where are the actual sport people? Sometimes you do have to, go with your gut, go with your instinct. And they talked about it during the past World Series. Like, what's that? What's the guy from the Yankees that just got fired?
Joe Girardi.
Joe Girardi. Like, did he make a mistake because he didn't go with the analytics? Or like Dusty Baker, the whole thing. He should have went. Should he have went with the analytics? And I guess because he didn't, that was reasons for why they possibly got.
Well, or you can look at Nick Saban with Alabama just playing that freshman quarterback.
Yes.
So I think that was an instinctive move.
Yeah. Nobody saw that coming.
Quarterback led them. It was 25-2, and you don't. Traditionally, you don't take a quarterback out that's gotten you that far. So that could have truly backfired, and then they could have lost it, but they actually won. So I thought that was an instinctive move, which was a great move. So
Right. I got one.
Good point.
We run out of time. Can I get one more question?
Yeah,
Vaughn?
yeah.
So Vaughn, what do you think is the most important message that you try to get out now, or somebody that's being a mentor should be trying to get out to today's youth? You coming across them a lot in your job as a dean. What message are you feel like you're constantly trying to hammer home, and like you think that's really, really important that the kids aren't hearing?
How long is it going to take you to ask that question?
So that's a good question. So for me, I've been doing it since like 98, 99, since I came from overseas. Self-esteem. I think a lot of our kids in DC or DMV is just not having the self-esteem that they need, and just infusing that belief within them, just trying to get them to see how important and who they are. And I think, so for me, it's just building up their self-esteem, because I think a lot of our kids don't have the self-esteem that they need because they go through so much in their life. So I've been doing a lot of home visits and talking to parents, and some of the kids don't have parents involved, or they may be incarcerated or lost a parent. So it's just self-esteem, building them up, because I think once you build them up, they can kind of fly from there.
Man, I got so many other questions to ask, but we're running out of time, Veronica.
And I'm not going to say what you say that I always say, so I'm just going to leave it at that.
Thank you.
But I truly appreciate you, Vaughn, coming in. I would love to see you two play chess. Please beat him for me, because he swear he's a grandmaster.
Got you.
And you've just been a great guest. And I know we don't want to talk in cliches, but life really is simple. And when you asked your question and you were answering it, it really just came down to self-esteem. It does come down to having a plan, like little simple things. And which it really comes down to my favorite one, which is be like water.
Be resilient.
Water
is resilient.
Water is resilient.
Water is resilient.
Thank you.
Like you said,
Be
Veronica.
like water.
Like you said.
Yes, I did. So again, thank you, Vaughn, for coming to see us.
Thank you for having me.
Man.
Oh, man.
All right. And we will see you all next time on the Veronica Harris Show.